in the data cleaning, what normally we should do, right? The first thing we should be make sure that the rows and columns are correct. You should know each and every columns and rows what it stands for. Means what client want, what are the parameters is given by the clients as a column headings.
So in this project, this is the data sets, and we have multiple columns here as we are doing the analysis of for each papers, each articles of the faculties within a university. So we our unique ID is like the paper ID, and we have authors who are the authors of that articles, whether it is index or non-index. This is status column, collaborations, national, international collaborations. These are all database specific statistics, year of publications, journal where it is being published. Then what is the type of articles? You have journal, conference, book chapter. We have department information. We have college or institute informations and name of the university, which locations belongs to the faculty belongs to, country, volume, issue number. These are all bibliographic information. And then we have some quality metrics with respect to the articles like SNIP, SJR, impact factor, UGC. These are all the quality metrics, and this is one more database specific information. To go to the second sheet, we have the list of paper and the title. So this is a unique paper ID, around 2987 paper ID is there, and respect to the paper ID.
So rows and columns you have to check, and you have to create a unique ID.
So in this project, we have created a unique ID for each paper. Column number, so this is the title, right? So for each title, we have presented a unique ID. And this unique ID you have to create based on the project requirement. This unique ID may vary from different project to project. For example, if you are going for any product related Power BI report, the product can be a unique ID. If you are showing any hospital information, the patient data, right? The patient may be a unique ID. Patient ID. Each patient name can be a unique ID. So similarly, it depends upon your project. In this case, we are presenting the statistic for articles. That's why we have created unique ID for each articles, and this is the unique ID.
Next you have to do is the removal of unwanted columns.
So out of all these columns, if you have any unwanted columns in the sense any columns that will not contribute to the analysis of the report, that columns you don't want, you can discuss with your manager or the clients whether you have to delete those columns or you have to hide those columns. Okay, because unnecessary, there should not be any space which leads to a issue in the report. So in that case, mostly if unwanted columns are there, that unwanted columns can be removed. So here I have already removed all the unwanted columns which I don't want, and all these columns which I have taken here, everything is contributing to the analysis. I mean 90% is contributing to the analysis. Okay, so that's the point of removal of unwanted columns.
Next thing is renaming of columns. So renaming columns means sometimes client will ask you, I want the data to be displayed as this name.
So renaming the columns is required by the client sometimes, especially if the client want a specific name to be displayed in the report, because it is very connected. So once you load the data in Power BI, so this is your Power BI desktop, uh, Power Query Editor, and whatever the names or the columns headings will be there, the same will be appear in the final report. But sometimes client want, I don't want the name to be displayed like that. I want to be specific name instead of that column names. So in that case, you have to change the, or you have to rename the column headings. It is very simple. Just you have to either you can do directly on this Excel here, you can change, or you can do in Power BI Query Editor. Anything can be. So how to change the rename? You can, if you, this is your column headings. So if you click here, there is an option called rename. So once you uh, right click and you can click on that, it will give you option to edit, and you can change the column headings. So this is how you have to change the column headings or rename the columns.
Next is a duplicate check. Okay, duplicate check means
If there are any duplicates records or duplicate entry found, that has to be removed from the sheet. In this sheet, we have unique paper ID with respect to any particular title. So there should not be any duplicate title or duplicate ID. So for that, you have to check before you load the data into the Power BI, or you can transform the data in Power BI. So during the transformations, you have to remove the duplicate entry. How to find that there is a duplicate entry? We have certain process. So let me show you in Excel. The same thing can be done in Power BI. So these are assume that this the on the sheet, right? In this there are unique paper ID, and I'm not sure how many duplicates are there in this. So you cannot check one by one comparing previous row and the next row to understand how many duplicates are there. So you have to follow certain rules. You need to follow some instruction to remove these duplicates. And there is a option called conditional formatting. If you click over here, there is a highlight cells rules, duplicate values. Okay. So if you click on duplicate values, it will give you duplicate values with, you can select any particular color to be displayed. If there are duplicates, it will give you a light red fill colors in the cells. Now I'll click OK, and I have to click in the filter option. Let me check this one. Conditional formatting. Yeah. Now it's okay. Now it's You can see there are some colors displayed here. So these are the records. If there are two records found for the same ID, it is marked as red color. So it means that this is a duplicate entry. So you have to retain any one ID out of these two. Okay. But before that, you also need to be careful on one thing I will tell you is make sure that all this ID is trimmed. Trimmed in the sense there should not be any extra space, drilling or drilling space in the cell. Say here number 4 and number 3. Actually, these two are duplicates, but through this conditional formatting, we are not able to find the duplicates because there is a extra space here. There is a extra space here. Okay, so before using this conditional formatting to highlight cells with duplicate values, kindly trim this entire column using a function called trim. Okay, if you use this function trim function, special values. Now, if I'll use the same conditional formatting, duplicate values, you can see the difference here. Here, this PUBDW002, this two, though it is a duplicate, it is not highlighted like this. But when I use the tree function and I use conditional formatting uh, on the duplicate, it is showing this red text, right? So if you're not using trim functions, you may miss some duplicate value to be deleted. So make sure that you use the trim functions and then you can use this conditional formatting to highlight the duplicate records. Once you highlight this duplicate record, you can able to delete or use the entire column and go to data and remove duplicates. If it is a very small number of duplicates you found, then you can manually you can delete one by one. So this is how you have to remove the duplicate entry in the sheet. Then the data types make sure that it has to be consistent. Here you can see there are different data types like here number swing and it's showing 1.2, it's in decimal format. Paper ID, it is in ABC. So here unique paper ID, only numbers are there, so it's showing 1, 2, 3. Authors are there, that's why it is ABC. So different types of data types. So different types of data that has to be consistent throughout the sheet. And in case if you want to change from one data types to other data types, make sure that you change accordingly. If but you cannot change data type from a string to a numbers. You can change the data type from decimal to a numbers. In this case, this is in decimal. If you want to change this decimal to a number, that you can change. Want this to be a whole number, and it will be a whole number. want to be displayed as decimal, you can change decimal number.
Numeric, categorical, date, string. So you have to standardize those data types. You have to identify and make sure the data type is correct for each column. So the next point is the date format. So the date format should be consistent throughout the project. It should not be one place it is dd YY and the other place it is dd YY. So that you have to be checked. It has to be consistent throughout the project.
Mostly, if you're working for any US or European countries, their date format, standard date format is month DD, and YY. So month will come first, but when it comes to the Indian project, mostly they will use DD format. So this format. So make sure that you throughout this sheet you consistently provide this date format. In this project, we don't want the date. We are done with year informations because they are only asking year wise trend. So we don't want any date column to be available here. So we will continue our remaining steps in my next video, and I will see you very soon. Thank you so much.